2 seconds to get going. All right. So I'm going to try to talk about something that I haven't really thought out very well. So we'll see if I can form a few coherent sentences and barf out something that has some kind of meaning. Okay. So every time I go online lately, not lately, it's just been increasing for a long time. Every time I go online, I keep seeing things pop up about, hey, become successful, be loud and obnoxious, and make lots of money, and then buy fancy cars and get multiple houses in different parts of the world, so you can tell people, I've got a chalet in Switzerland and a beach house in the Seychelles and all this stuff, and show everyone how impressive and flashy you can be, and then you're successful, right? And this has just become like the way people think and the way people do things today. But I think it's a serious problem because there's a difference between an adult and a child. And a child, when they come into the world, they don't know what the hell they're supposed to do. So they spend their time trying to impress people, preferably responsible adults who can then say yes to this and no to that, and you're doing good here, but that's a bad idea, and give some kind of, and give their knowledge that they've learned throughout their life to the younger person, who can then start doing the things that are impressing the hopefully responsible adults, and start doing the things that make life better, right? Now, this probably sounds ridiculous to a lot of people, because this whole concept of trying to impress adults as a child is kind of lost. But anyway, okay, let me back up and talk a little bit about another thing that's lost. Back many years ago, pretty much everyone experienced farming. And there would be times when there'd be a harvest and there'd be so much food coming in. There's more food than anyone can eat. And that would be the easy times, right? And then there's a time between harvests. And that's the hard times, because you might have to go 6 months or 8 months without any food coming in. And that could be a very difficult time if you didn't do the right things during the harvest. So the older people have to teach the younger people, okay, when we get the harvest, when we get the food coming in, we can't just eat it all and waste it all. We got to eat what we can to be strong and healthy, and make sure our health is at its peak when we can make it that way. And then save as much of this food as we can for the next 6 to 8 months, and then we have to plan and make sure we don't eat it all at once or whatever, and make sure it lasts. Plus, we have to save seeds from now for next year, so that we can plant food next year for the year after that. And this is something that people experience either directly because they were farming themselves, or their family was, or someone close. Like, people had experience with this, like pretty much everyone. And this taught people a special lesson and reinforced it every single year, because every year there was a harvest. And that lesson was, when things are easy, you have to save up for when things are hard. When things are going well for you, you have to prepare for when things aren't going well, because life goes up and down. Life always goes up and down, right? There's always going to be an up time and a down time coming in the future that you have to be ready for. Now, back in the day when people farmed, they had this lesson reinforced every year. But now we don't really have that, because people don't farm anymore. And now we have this global civilization, right? And things that are very big move very slowly. So that maybe the ups and downs will take like an entire generation, or maybe even a century to happen. So now we have this situation where you'll have an entire generation who will have basically an up. They'll have a very easy life. It doesn't mean nothing ever goes wrong, but generally speaking, they'll have a very easy life. And then you'll have another generation, maybe a couple generations later, where things are much more difficult. And you can see a big variation in this. If you watch a 70-year-old, like a baby boomer, talking to like a 30-year-old, And the 70-year-old will say, oh, when I was your age, I had a car and a house and all this stuff. I had as much money as I needed and I could eat whatever I wanted. We went on vacations. We did all. What is wrong with you, you young whippersnappers? Can't you get your life together? Now, let's completely ignore the fact that, largely those baby boomers were pushing off debt to the future. So those 30-year-olds are now paying for the house that baby boomer had 40 years ago. But it doesn't matter what the mechanism is for this. Things go up and down, right? And the 30-year-old looks back and says, but I have the same job as you and I work overtime. What the, it's because things go up and down. And what we're not doing today, and what we should be doing today, is when life is pretty easy, and life is still relatively easy. Like, it's pretty hard to starve to death today, but that's not consistent with most of human history. Right now, it's pretty difficult to starve to death or to not have a roof over your head. Life is still relatively easy, even though it's harder than it was for the baby boomers or whatever. Life is still pretty easy, and we should be saving for when life is going to be hard. And maybe life will, now we're kind of in a downturn. Maybe it'll keep going down and there will be all kinds of financial problems and life will get harder. Or maybe there will be an asteroid that hits the earth, or maybe there will be like some year of terrible natural storms. Like things always come and go, right? Like things affect us to make life get better or worse. And it's always important to prepare for the bad times when things are going well. And this is why whenever I see the stuff online, just telling people, disposable income is the best. Like that should not even be a term. Whenever you have extra income, you should never dispose of it. You should be using it to prepare for your future, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. And now as a civilization, we've just completely lost like the sense of preparing for when things are bad or when things are going to get bad. And things are going to go bad. Maybe it'll be in 10 years, maybe it'll be in 400 years. But at some point, things are going to be bad. And if we're not preparing for it when things are good, we're going to be screwed, man. So anyway, that's something I've been thinking about lately. Whenever things are going well for you, it's really important to forget the parties and the fast car and stuff. Invest in your own future. That might mean saving money, or, in my case, it meant buying some land and starting to farm and build a house that needs like no maintenance, and just kind of trying to create this place where I could live and thrive, even if there's some financial crisis or whatever. Of course, you can't plan for everything. There's always going to be something that could destroy you. But like just planning ahead for your future as well as you can will put you in the best position for when things go down. And that's what I've been thinking about this week a little bit. So, I wouldn't say things are going amazingly well for me, but, pretty well. It's, I have enough money to eat. I have enough money to do stuff. I have enough time to do stuff. And I feel like I really need to take advantage of that and work hard and, make a good future, which is what I always kind of think, Anyway, let's see what's going on here. NE Hikes says, hello, Jaimie. Is NE Hikes Northeast hikers? Oh, wait, hikes? Just hikes, not hikers. How's it going, Sean? Diddler, how's it going, Diddler? Sup, builder team? Hope all is good. Just finishing my indoor edible flower automated greenhouse. Keep it up. Oh, that sounds amazing. Dude, I want to see that. That's super cool. Indoor edible flower automated greenhouse. That's awesome. The food in American dumpsters today is better than what a lot of our ancestors ate. Yeah, it's totally true. Yeah, and part of the problem with not preparing for the future and just being like, well, things are good now, I can relax. It makes people soft. That's besides not taking care of our infrastructure and making sure things are going to be better and, getting rid of disposable everything, just planning for the future. Besides all that stuff, yeah, when you're living in good times and you just relax too much, it just makes people soft. And then they start thinking, while eating steak, like, life's just hard because I don't have the side of mashed potatoes I wanted with my steak. I wanted russets and they only had this other kind of potatoes and it's just not good enough. Or they didn't have the correct wine, or it's not the right temperature. Just all this useless, pointless nonsense, like childish crap. And we're in a society today full of children, people who never grew up, like 70-year-old children who whine about nothing and don't do anything useful for anyone. And a lot of people who are just try to make money by being loud and obnoxious and trying to make a good living that way, which, sure, you can do it. Why not, right? Except when things get hard, the first person who gets fired is the jester. So, it's it's important to do useful things and be useful and be prepared for when things are difficult. Great philosophy. Most of us are too fat and happy to follow through with it. Yeah, that's the problem. Like a lot of people, when they get into the role of being fat and happy and chill, they don't want to deal with anything. They won't deal with it until they have to, because eventually you don't have a choice. Eventually you have to deal with the things you need to deal with. You have to start being responsible and doing the words that kids don't like because they're not fun and responsible. Eventually you have to do it. And part of the problem today is that these cycles are so long, like a person can live their entire life in one of the up times, during one of the easy times, and never have to deal with difficulties or adversity, and never have to learn how to plan for the future. And then they don't know how to teach their children and pass on the knowledge of being able to plan ahead to the next generation. And it's just it's just one of the symptoms of a failing civilization, unfortunately. Especially the dumpster behind Whole Foods, where they throw out 1 week expired fancy vegan protein bars. Oh, I used to go to, when I first moved off grid in Vermont, a few miles away from me was this, I don't remember what the store was called. I don't even know if it had a name, but it was a dented can store. So it was all the almost or maybe even expired food from the local grocery store just ended up in this place. And it was just this dingy looking store, but you can go in there and just get like deals, just deals. And one of the things I always got was they had this box and it was just full of like energy bars, power bars and like mega jumbo calorie super bars, and just like full of bars of just piles of calories and protein. And they were 10 cents a piece. So I would go in there with $10 and get 100 of these things. And then while I was building my house, I would eat a good breakfast and then I would eat a good dinner, but the whole middle of the day, I just snack on these things all day. Let's see. Hey, Jay, Luciano Magulas. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Billy says, I'm trying to save myself, but there's so much cool stuff to consume. Well, that's the trap. That's the trap. It's fun to be a kid. It's fun to be like, yay, I can blow money on this fun thing and be cool. Or you can grow up. And that's the difference. You can choose to be a child. Oh, speaking of growing up, I need to check my bread. My dinner's already cooked, but I put some bread on. Hold on. Let me just check it. It should be fine. I'll have a good little medium-sized fire. Oh yeah, my bread's looking great. A couple more minutes and it'll be off. If I don't run out to check my bread in a couple minutes, someone say, go check your bread. Ooh, Diddler says, I'll show you pictures. Yeah, man, I would love to see some pictures. My email is down here. It should be in the description. I haven't updated my description in a while. I probably should, but I don't know. I have other things to do. But my email should be down here, theadventurebuildermovie@gmail.com, which was originally just an email to answer questions about the movie I made, but now I just use it for everything. Is there? I seen it. It's there. I seen it. Hey, Tomatoes, what's going up? Sup, Jaimie? Whoa, superhero. Man, I obviously didn't do a long enough monologue today because I'm already at the end of comments. Does that mean I should shut up and go eat my fried chicken? Oh, actually, someone was asking me if I could show some of the robot parts that I've been working on. Because, I recently got a 3D printer, which was amazing. And partly I got it because someone sent me an Amazon gift card, which was awesome, which paid for half the price of the 3D printer, which was spectacular. And, I also got a whole bunch of rolls of filament. And then someone else recently just sent me more filament, which is awesome. And someone sent me like radio control parts. So I can make radio control stuff in the robot. Oh, awesome. Anyway, so I got this 3D printer, and at first I was printing, the Hulk because my son wanted the Hulk, and then a bunch of My Little Ponies because I have 3 daughters, and stuff like that, and little wind-up cars and stuff. And then one day, I don't know, about a week ago, I was like, all right, that's it, kids. I'm taking over the 3D printer, and I made a video about it. You've probably seen it. I'm making a spider tank. It's my favorite version of the spider tank. The one that I worked with a toy company, eventually ended up in stores, and Anyway, let me show you some of the parts. I'll be right back. I'm just over here getting some robot parts. Okay, I got some robot parts. Okay, where do I start? Oh, here's one of the latest things I printed. It's a piece of robot leg, a piece that sticks out that way, and there's another piece that goes on here that goes down. But man, I'm so impressed with this 3D printer. It's a Sovol SV06, and they're not like sponsoring me or anything. I just bought it. I don't get any money for that or anything, but I'm so impressed with this thing. It is really, really good. So I printed these 2 parts out, and there's like a little edge here and a little lip here, and oh, look at that. They like fit together so perfectly. Oh, it's so nice. I should probably edit these a little bit and make some little screw spots. But when I originally designed this, I spent 3 days and nights just drawing all the pieces in the computer, trying to beat some deadline, and I was just trying to get something that worked. So I didn't worry about the screw holes or anything. I just glued it shut. Anyway, here's like the main body piece, which is looking excellent. And this, I'll try to do this slow enough that it can actually show up. So this piece goes around like so, and it's what moves all the legs. And the reason it stays parallel like that is because it's got some gears in the middle here that make sure it stays in that orientation as it goes around, because it needs to stay vertical. Well, this actually goes this way, but the lighting's better like this. So it needs to stay vertical as it goes around to be able to move the legs right and everything. And this part swivels all up here. It's got some little wheels in here. And when I made this part, like I was saying earlier, I drew out the parts really quickly. I was just trying to get something that functioned. So I didn't do the best part or the best job on this part. But I printed out the original version and, was melting it with a soldering iron and doing some edits and stuff. And then I was like, all right, let me take all those edits I did and draw them in the computer and make an updated version. And this one is, so much better. It's got a whole bunch of features that this one does not have. Like all these little skinny parts here, I beefed them up so they're not so skinny. And then they're filleted down at the bottom so they're stronger and won't snap off. Not that this one broke, but stronger anyway. And then like holes I made, it's just I did a whole bunch of updates on that and fixed it up. And then The same with that middle piece that goes around in the middle. Just did a bunch of edits and smoothed out some parts and changed the hole a little bit and carved out a chunk because I remembered. Well, actually, I didn't remember this, but as I was putting it together, like this part has to go around, right? And there's a gear that goes right in front of it that it hits. So it doesn't hit when it has this chunk taken out of it. And when I originally put the thing together, I actually forgot to get this part printed. So I just made one out of plexiglass. And I remember I had to cut out this chunk. Anyway, I'm making a bunch of the parts, improved. This is the original one of these. It's just a thing. I don't know. All this stuff you'll see when I make the video and I put the whole thing together. Hopefully by the time I get to the end, I'll have some kind of comprehensive, this is how you assemble this robot. Because I know a bunch of people were asking if I could share the STL files, the files or the G code files, the files to be able to make one of these. So yeah, I want to share all those, but I want to make it, not too hard to put together, which is why, I've been updating some of the parts so you don't have to do a bunch of edits and stuff. But yeah, I'm super impressed with this 3D printer. It's going really, really well. And it's working way faster than I was originally thinking it would be. I made one of these robots, I don't know, years and years ago on my old 3D printer. And it took 2 weeks. And before I printed it out, I was cutting all kinds of holes and things so it wouldn't have to print as much, so it would go faster. But I could print this out in a week pretty easily. And I'm not printing at night or anything. So yeah, this printer I have now works way faster than the one I used to have and is way more detailed. Like the gears. Check out these gears. Oh man. Let me see how close I can get this. Can we get some lighting over here? Kind of. Oh, man, those are so good. So in none of my previous 3D printers I've had could I make a gear this small with teeth that good. So good. Yeah, I'm really impressed with this thing. Anyway, I'm having tons of fun with this. I'm still getting all the work done that I need to do. But yeah, it's really nice having like a fun project I want to do. So I'm really excited about this. Let's see, where were we? Hey, Jaimie, Tomatoes, what's up? Oh man, you guys have fried chicken and robots out there? Well, I have, what is it? Chicken fried rice is what I have. I can show you. It's not that pretty today because I didn't have any colorful ingredients. Here, it's just it's not too bad looking. Although the lighting is not making it look great. But it's just a chicken fried in a pan, and then I pulled all the meat off and threw the bones in the fire, and then put some rice and some spinach from my garden. Well, it's actually katuk, which is like spinach, and some oregano. And then, fried it for a little bit and then put some water in there, put the lid on and let it cook the rice. And that's about it. It's pretty easy to make. And I'll probably put some soy sauce on it and maybe some hot sauce, and I'll eat that soon. Oh, I also squeezed lemon on it. Anyway, that's dinner today. Oh, my bread. I'll be right back. Let me get my bread. Oh, there's today's bread. It's sourdough coconut bread. There's a lot of coconut in there. So usually when I make a bread, it's got almost a whole coconut. And this one has almost a whole coconut. Minus, what I had for breakfast in my cereal and my oats. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the fried chicken out there. What motor will you use for robot? Well, I don't know. Here, let me get my little can of motors. So I've got this here can full of motors. What do you call this? Jar? I don't know. Plastic jar. And it's got, this is, just stuff from when I used to do robot toy stuff. It's just full of motors. Probably will not use that one unless I'm making a much bigger robot. But yeah, I don't know. I'll go through here and see what looks like it'll fit and has the right power. It's kind of nice having a whole bunch of motors and stuff like that. But even before, like after I worked with the toy company and did like toy development for a while, I ended up with like boxes of extra gears and like, piles of motors and stuff, which I made sure I always got. Whenever I was talking to like factory guys, I'd always be like, hey, to help with the development of this, could you just give me like a shoot load of like gears and a whole bunch of motors? And yeah, they just gave me all the stuff. And I always basically got as much as I could. Well, maybe not as much as I could. They probably would have given me crates and crates of this stuff, but I got a lot. But before I got all that stuff, I would just take toys apart, or like VCRs apart. Not that anyone has a VCR anymore, but old printers. I would just dismantle anything that was broken or just wasn't being used anymore. Pull stuff out of the garbage and open it up and take the gears and the motors out and stuff like that. I very rarely bought any motors. Let's see, what motor we use? Everyone is live today. Everyone? The design to enclose the pinch parts was great. Yeah, thanks, man. So what he's talking about is originally the original, well, I shouldn't say the original. No, it was the original design. The original design of the spider tank had like 2 sticks coming out and then 1 stick for the leg going down. And between the 2 sticks, a kid could put their hand in there and potentially get it pinched, maybe if they're an idiot or something. Whatever, there are a lot of idiots in the world. But anyway, they wouldn't pass child safety. So what I ended up doing was taking one of the sticks, blowing it up, making it hollow, and then putting the other stick inside it. And that actually worked out really well. And after doing that, the parts kind of fit together. And let's see, like there isn't really a way to get pinched in there, right? Because the way I think about it, it's like a beetle or a crab shell. Like if you look at the joints of a beetle or a crab, they're kind of like that, where it's like, parts just kind of slide along like that. And it's really cool. I definitely got a lot of inspiration by, looking at beetles and crabs and insects and stuff like that. It's really cool how they're made and how they work and how the joints fit together and everything. Wear your propeller. Jasper, I think you need to work on your sentences. Wear your propeller. Where you are propeller. I have no idea what I have no idea what you're saying. December always has the best garbage. Oh man, yeah, totally. Like right after Christmas, if you're like in a major city, just go for a walk on garbage day. And then you can find all kinds of cool stuff. Like sometimes stuff people just got that they didn't want, so they threw it away. Or like, wait, last year was a 14-inch pull-on gas chainsaw and a Jetson mini e-bike. That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of times people will get rid of like totally good stuff, either because it's something they didn't want and they're never going to use, or maybe they got it from something they didn't like, or they just got a new thing, so they're throwing out the old thing, which was perfectly good. And then you could just be like, yo, man, new chainsaw, peace. Yeah, that's awesome. Parts are looking good, Jay. Thanks, man. Ooh, question. All right. John Doe has a question. Do you know of any fan-based adventure builder headquarters in other countries? I don't know of any. I don't know. What are there adventure builder headquarters I should know about? I remember there were some guys in California who used to send me messages now and then saying, we have an adventure builder club here. And there was another one somewhere else in the United States. I don't remember. Or maybe there was one somewhere in Europe. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything about any of this stuff in a while. But, being an adventure builder isn't really about being in a club. And I'm not saying you couldn't have an actual club and, get together and stuff. That sounds super fun too. But the heart of being an adventure builder is doing the adventure builder virtues, which are strength, courage, honesty, honor, imagination, love, humility, and life. I think I got all of them right. Don't forget to like the video. How do I do that? I don't know. Am I doing a good job in this video? I think I'll like it. I think I like it. I like it. There you go. That detail is really impressive. Yeah, it is really impressive. And like the surfaces, it's crazy how nice they are. Man, I obviously can't show how good the surface is on the camera, but yeah, really good. 3D printers have come a long way. And I'm always saying, it just shows how amazingly well things can be developed by just people doing it. You don't have to have some giant conglomeration, some huge corporation or a government to make something happen. You can just let people interested in something just develop it on their own, in their own free time, or whatever. People will be motivated. People are motivated to do really cool stuff if you just let them. Of course, today so many things are patented and tied up, and yeah, it's ridiculous. But 3D printers are a perfect example of how much something can be developed if you just let people do it. It's really cool. I was thinking the other day about what if that was just the standard way of doing things? Could you imagine how crazy amazing cars could be, or boats, or houses if there was just a general culture of open source, experimentation and sharing information and trying things out, and just all these people kind of sharing information over the internet, which is the best use of the internet. I love that use of the internet. There's plenty of terrible uses for the internet, but sharing information amongst people, trying things out, amazing use for the internet. But just imagine if a whole bunch of other things in our lives, in our daily lives, were treated like this 3D printer development was treated. I mean, so many things could develop so far. It would be amazing. That would be really cool. I hope that, I would love to see that. I mean, it would be really cool. Jaimie, you rock. Gotta go. I can't watch live. No good name. No problem, man. Do you think you could print out any gears for your other boats? Yeah, I would say definitely, yes. I don't know what gears. Yeah. I mean, it would have to be gears that don't have as much pressure on them as a standard outboard or something, where it's got the 90-degree gears, not ears, gears that have a lot of pressure on them and go through a lot of wear. And those are made out of steel. If I was going to print out plastic gears and use them, it would have to be a different design. Maybe sort of like a hub where there's a propeller, and the propeller rotates in this hub and has gear teeth around the outside, and something turns that, because then the pressure on the gear teeth would be on the outside as opposed to the inside, so there'd be a lot less pressure. Could maybe get away with plastic gears for that. The cool thing about plastic gears is you could lubricate them with the seawater, so you don't have to worry about them rusting. I don't know if anyone's doing anything like that. You'd probably have to experiment with the different types of plastic and see which one works the best. But yeah, far out, looks good to me. Ooh, that 2 should have 1 O. Looks good to me. I made rice and cream of mushroom plus ground beef tonight. Oh man, that sounds good. Oh, food. Yeah, I'm gonna stuff my face tonight. after I get off here, I'm going to go sit on my little mat area back there and eat my food, stuff my face, probably put some movie on or something, and then just stretch for like an hour and a half. I shouldn't say I like to, but if I stretch a bunch every evening, then I feel great in the morning and I can keep doing all the, the athletic and manual labor stuff that I do. Hugely important part of that is stretching every evening, though. What are we working hard on? All kinds of stuff. Right now, I'm just working hard on talking. Beetles and crabs joints is fascinating. Their wings too. Yeah, I know, eh? Yeah, it's really cool looking at just natural things that have gone through like huge amounts of evolution and worked things out to get really interesting and like really good solutions to problems. Like just exoskeletons in general, how they have to hold in all the liquids and everything. And yeah, there's just so many cool things about that. I got a good chainsaw out of the trash too. Nice. Man, I wish I did. That would have been great if when I was a kid, well, my dad wasn't around much because my parents were divorced. So I just saw him on weekends. But it would have been cool to have like, a dad or an uncle or someone just be like, hey, it's garbage day and it was just Christmas. Let's go hunting. When I was a kid, I mean, I'm sure I could have gotten all kinds of cool stuff. Bro, are you that genius guy from that show Life in the Wild on that island? Maybe. I don't know. Guru Sensei, take your pick. Hit that thumbs up, everyone. All right, Mr. Landville. Lots of snow to shovel in Maine. Yeah, I haven't been up there in a while. I have to admit, I kind of forget about snow now that I live in the tropics. And I don't totally forget about it, but like I'll forget about it for a while. And then every once in a while, I'll realize, wait a minute, it's been summer for 10 years straight without a break, which is cool in some ways. Although, I feel like I'm kind of bred for the cold. Yeah, I handle the cold very well. I don't handle the heat as well, but it doesn't get too hot here, so it's all right. But I do miss the cold a little bit now and then. I can attest to that. I'm also in Maine. You guys got a lot of snow, man. Do you make snow forts? I used to love making snow forts. Even when I was an adult, I would still make snow forts, but only after I took care of the important things I needed to take care of. Anyway, let me think. Was there anything else I needed to talk about? And actually, I'm going to show this real quick. Wait, I thought you had plastic gear on the shark slicer. A plastic gear on the shark slicer. I do not have a plastic gear on the shark slicer. I'm trying to think anywhere. I mean, the motor doesn't have any plastic gears on it. No, I don't think that. Wait, I have some plastic pulleys in the steering system, but no plastic gears. Okay, this right here. Okay, I've kind of like chomped off a little bit, but this, it's kind of dark because it is dark. This is pure cacao. I was about to say I got it for 50 cents, but I took off a bunch, so it's probably like 30 cents now. I got it for 50 cents at the store when I was just picking up some gasoline for tomorrow. Oh, I'll tell you what I'm doing tomorrow in a second. But anyway, pure cacao that is made by, harvesting cacao pods and then taking the seeds and fermenting them and then drying them out and cooking them and breaking them up and grinding it up. And then you get this pure cacao, 100% pure cacao. And since it's made here, you can get it pretty cheap. And when I was just at the store, there was just like a bucket sitting there with these things for 50 cents. I guess someone came by and was like, hey, can you sell this? And the guy's like, yeah, sure. It's kind of cool being in a I don't know, maybe a sort of primitive environment a little bit, because you can do that. You can just show up to a store and be like, hey man, you want to sell this for me? Obviously keep a cut, but And people will just be like, yeah, sure. It's very chill. I like that a lot. Anyway, what was I getting gas from? Okay, so I have this second floor area right here and the third floor area, which is way up there in the dark. And obviously there's no floor here. And I've been dying to finish the second floor and the third floor, but at least one of these floors up. And it hasn't really been a priority for a while. But then I was like, you know what? I got to do it. I got to get it done. I got to get at least one of these floors up so I can get a whole bunch of stuff on my first floor up to where it's supposed to go, because I have so much stuff in storage down here that has places to go when I build the floors. So I hired a guy to come with me to the jungle to help me identify trees. And he has a chainsaw. And tomorrow we're going to cut some wood. And, I won't make him do this. I'll bring it over here. Maybe I'll just make a bunch of trips back here, do some cutting, let him keep cutting, and then I'll keep moving stuff over here during the day or whatever. But anyway, I want to get this friggin' wood cut so I can build the second floor. And I don't know what wood I'm going to use. It depends. There's a bunch of trees down and stuff in the jungle. And this guy can identify them, which is nice because I don't know what they are. Although I am starting to get an idea of which trees look similar. I'm starting to classify them in my head. So there are at least a few different trees now that if the guy tomorrow tells me this is that, I'm going to know that, okay, this, and this, all those are that name. And then I know what the wood is good for and stuff, because I know what a bunch of the different types of wood here are good for, but I just can't identify the trees. But anyway, this guy's going to help me with that. So in January, which is this month right now, I want to get the second floor going. I would say I want to get the second floor done, but it's obviously going to depend on how long it takes for the wood to dry, because I'm going to have to dry the wood out before I build. I mean, I have to dry it somewhat before I can really get the floor done. But yeah, by the end of January, I want to have the second floor well underway. So I'm looking forward to that. I got my chainsaw all ready to go and all my stuff. And we're going to go early in the morning. Let's see. The plastic gear on the shark slicer was for the pedals, but they were removed. Oh, you're talking about the zombie chopper, not the shark slicer. Okay. There was, wait. All right, first let me answer this. Okay, on the zombie chopper, my smallest boat. No, I have a kayak. My smallest boat, that's not just a kayak. It's a little trimaran, like a two-seater. You fit two people in it. And it had a motor in the back and then pedals. And for a while, the pedals had a plastic gear to a plastic gear, but the teeth started breaking off eventually. So I replaced it with a stainless steel thing that I made. I kind of really jerry-rigged it together, but it didn't matter because it was stainless steel and it was strong and it worked very well. Although I did end up taking that out. So that boat has no pedals now, just because I have 4 kids and the pedals were basically taking up a spot where a kid could go. So right now I can fit all 4 kids in that boat and we can drive around places fast. Although they're getting bigger, I'm either gonna have to make that boat bigger or just not be able to take them in the fast boat anymore. The cargo boat, tons of space. I mean, I could fit like 20 people on that thing. But the little boat, yeah, it's a little cramped. It's nice and fast, but yeah, not very big. Oh, so wait, someone just said, eat it? Okay, this is the pure cacao, right? And so it has no sugar or milk in it or anything. And it's friggin' delicious. But I think it's only delicious to me because I've eaten it a bunch. Yeah, it's totally good. If you gave this to someone who'd only eaten, sugary, milky chocolate, or even just sugary chocolate, they'd say, "Oh, that's so bitter." Blah, blah, blah. But if you just eat it raw, the pure cacao, pretty soon you get used to it, and that just tastes like the right thing. It's delicious. It's great. Much better for you too than with a bunch of sugar in it. We have had about 1/16 of an inch of snow this season in Michigan. Wow. A 16th of an inch is like a millimeter for anyone who doesn't know. That is not much snow. I would be so disappointed if I had a whole winter and got basically no snow. Oh, that was the worst. I know I've had a winter like that. Oh, it's terrible. Are you still in Panama? Yes, I am still in Panama. And any new inventions or video games you made? Well, I mean, this spider tank robot I'm working on. And then, just the stuff in my videos. I made a mud sucker recently, which I ended up kind of retiring again because I was like, if I just get in the water and use buckets, I can get like solid muck and pour it exactly where I want, as opposed to with the mud sucker, it gets mucky water to which it just spreads all over the place. Anyway, and then I have this conveyor belt over here, and I don't know, I'm always working on some kind of stuff. But yeah, the invention I'm really excited about right now is not a new invention for me. It's just this spider tank Mark V. It's not even the latest version of it. But I wanted to print out something that I liked a lot and just kind of figure out my 3D printer and get back into drafting and everything, and play with some parts because I have some other ideas of inventions that I want to do. But I want to, I wanted to warm up. This is my warm up. Maybe I'll also print a polar bear. Anyway, I don't know. I have lots of inventions in my head. Oh, and there's a video game. Hold on, I gotta take a drink because when you eat the raw cacao and you're talking a lot, it can get dry and it feels like you just ate some sand. Oh, much better. There is a video game I have in the works, but it's been on the back burner for a while. I'd love to work on it, but it's just not high priority. Never even seen pure cacao. Well, there you go. It's actually not that hard to make either. There's a bit of processing, but it's not that hard to do. Almost looks like hash. Pure cacao does get you high. Well, how much do I have to eat before I get high? Because I kind of ate a lot. Have you seen any of the Explorer videos on YouTube of people exploring your dome home you sold in Vermont? It's surprising in good shape still. I saw a little bit of one, but I don't know. It's like, it's got graffiti all over it and it's totally changed. It's not my place anymore. It's someone else's place and they're doing whatever they want to do with it. It has nothing to do with me anymore, That's why when I sold it, I didn't really keep up with what was going on there. I didn't really want to know. It's just like, I'm selling it. Now I'm moving on because someone else is going to do something with it. Like the person who bought it from me is just trying to sell it. And I don't know, it seems like they don't really use it at all. And that could be disappointing. I could get annoyed and be all frustrated about, oh, they're not even respecting my old house. I put so much effort into that. Or I can just be like, well, it's theirs now. It's not mine anymore. It's their thing. I got my life here. I got plenty to worry about here. But yeah, I did see a little bit of one. And yeah, I guess it is in pretty good shape for a place that isn't really being taken care of anymore. Are you planning to make beams to lay across first or just floor joist style? Okay. So right here, I've got a beam, right? And the second floor is going to have beams. Okay, see this piece of wood here? Right here. If you push that as far that way as you can, there's going to be a beam there. And then over here, there's like a little ledge right up here that goes to the next pillar over. It's only like 6 feet long, like 2 meters. There's going to be a beam there. And then there will be joists going across this way. Every that far-ish? I don't know. I'll have to decide that. And then the floorboards will go on top, going this way. At least I think that's what's going to go on. That's what I'm kind of planning. That's what's in my head anyway. You need to make boats for your kids. It will let them be more independent. Have a family flotilla. Well, I don't need to do anything, but I could. I asked my kids if they want their own boats, and so far they're like, nah, no, not really. Like they can drive around in the kayaks and stuff, but I'm sure at some point one of my kids is going to be like, yo, I want my own boat. That would be amazing. But even then, I'm not just gonna send them out unaccompanied, because it's the ocean. I'm not just gonna send kids out into the ocean. Even though I've seen like 8-year-olds by themselves in a little tiny canoe driving around, like local Panamanian kids. But they grew up with that. Like that was their culture the whole time. So, and I mean, to be honest, I have a bunch of blonde kids. And when you have a bunch of blonde kids in a place where there are no blonde people, it becomes very clear how much people notice them. Like they are, everywhere I go, people are like, oh, look at those kids. Other kids, dark hair, dark eye kids go around, everyone ignores them. They're safe, But like you have a blonde hair, blue-eyed kid in a place where there are not many blonde hair, blue-eyed people, they just get more attention than is comfortable. Let's just say that. So, that's kind of a concern. Not that anything bad has happened. It's just, let's see. I have watched every video. Wait. I've watched every video you have ever posted 3 times over the years. That's crazy, Aaron Boat Guy. I hope I had a good influence. The ocean is dangerous. It's true. Yeah, that's the other thing. Besides just, concerns of other people, like it's really easy to go out in the water when it's calm and like 10 minutes later it is not calm anymore. So yeah, I don't really want my kids going out in the ocean unattended. So if, when I make boats for the kids, which will happen whenever they want, I mean, not immediately, but basically whenever they start asking about boats, I'll want to build them their own boat. I will be with them for many years before they go anywhere on their own. Let's see. It's such a shame I'm subscribed to you with notifications, but haven't seen any of your videos pop up on the feed. So glad this popped up. We'll check out your videos again. Unsure why this happened. Wow. YouTube algorithm apparently does not, does not pop up me. I don't know. Maybe I'm not cool enough. Have you ever made a surf wake foil? No. Seems like it would be a fun build and make for great exercise. No, it's just that sounds like a fun thing, but it's not like a high priority thing. I got floors to build in my house, and I got like food to plant. I can't play around with stuff like that yet. Except I can play around with little robots. Oh, anyway. This is true. When I was really young and went to China with my family, hundreds of people came up and just took pictures of me because I have blonde hair. Yeah, totally. And imagine if you were a girl. Not that, it's just true. If you take a blonde boy and a blonde girl, put them in the same place, the girl is going to get twice as much obnoxious attention. Yeah, I've told the story about, how I've gone into a restaurant with my blonde-haired, blue-eyed daughter. Now she's big, but like when she was little, we went into a restaurant one time, and this was not the only time this happened. We would go into some restaurant, some obnoxious lady, some obnoxious American. It's always an American. Why is it always an American? Some obnoxious American lady runs across the restaurant. Oh my God! And starts like charging my daughter. And I'm like, whoa. And my daughter's like terrified. like gripping onto my leg behind me, and I'm just like, lady, calm down. Anyway, we had to leave the restaurant, you know. Oh my God, her blonde hair and her blue eyes. Oh my God. Oh, geez. Settle down, lady, you know? Anyway. Oh, let's see. Scary. I don't know what scary is, but something was scary. Did you sell the big wood catamaran houseboat that you made? I missed that awesome boat. That was an awesome boat, but it had there was going to be a lot of maintenance to keep it, and I didn't have time, so I gave it away. Have you ever considered making a drag dredge? Basically, a dozer blade connected to a winch that you drop at the end of your canal with your boat and then winch it back in. Well, that sounds like an amazing idea until you hit reality. And I know there's got to be a way to make it work, but here's the thing. If I have a dredge that I stick in the muck and then pull, it's full. Like, it moves that far and it's full. And then it's like, okay, now what? Well, I got to get it out the side. I can't just keep dragging forward, you know, because it's just piling up and going over the thing, you know. I don't know. Maybe there's a way to make that work, though. Maybe if I made a dredge that just dragged the muck out into the open ocean where it would just, you know, float away, and just scooped a little, went back in, scooped a little more, went back in, scooped a little more. I mean, that could work. Although I would rather take the muck and put it up on the land, and, you know, it could fertilize the land and also raise the land a little bit to keep up with, you know, ocean rises and stuff like that. Yeah, when you live on an island, you start becoming very aware of dirt. like if you have dirt on your boots, this happens to me all the time. I'll have dirt on my boots or on my feet, and I go to get on a boat, and I'm like, oh, I can't take the island with me. I gotta shake it off on the island before I leave. Otherwise, I'm constantly taking pieces of the island with me. I'm gonna have no island left. Let's see. Did you ever consider making a big dredge? Yeah. Did you think it would be Did you think it would be a good idea to farm fish, oyster, clams, lobsters, or something in your canals? Yes, I've definitely thought about that. Yeah, I just haven't gotten to the part where I'm ready to do that. And part of the problem is, like, I park my boats in the canal. So if I block off the end of the canal so the fish can't get out, then I can't get my boat out either. And if I open it so I can get my boat out, then the fish leave. But I'm sure there'd be ways where I could make like a little side canal or something, like an extra thing where I could just keep fish or lobsters in there or something. But that's a lot of work, you know, digging out. Digging takes a lot of time, and I have a lot of digging. But yeah, I do think that would be pretty cool. Can you make an update video on your original island like you did a couple years ago? On my original island. What's my original island? You mean the one that I don't live on anymore? That one's not mine anymore. It's Deshana's, so I don't know. That's her business. So I guess no. You ever watched the movie Waterworld? Yes. It's like that with dirt. Yeah, Waterworld. You know what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, when you live on an island, dirt is like Waterworld. And I showed my kids the first, I don't know, like 5 minutes of Waterworld, which is the best opening. It's like the best opening of any movie. You know, it's kind of a letdown if you watch the whole movie. Like, what at some point, the guy loses his boat. Everything after that is just kind of like, you know, trashy action movie garbage. But like the opening scene of Waterworld is just incredible. You know, the giant boat, and the guy's like so expert at handling it by himself. And he's got all kinds of inventions and gears and wires and cables and pulleys and stuff. Oh, it's awesome. The boat is like amazing. And then, you know, of course, once the boat gets destroyed, I was just like, whoa, movie's over, but it still goes on for another hour. Why? But yeah, I showed my kids the opening to that movie. That movie's amazing for the first 5 minutes. Hi, Jaimie and everyone. Been watching since I'm building a giant robot, damn it, video. Started naming my various projects around the homestead as soon as I named the banana building project. Ah, cool, man. Thanks. Well, you're very welcome. Yeah, banana building. I should make a banana building here, except I wouldn't want to make it a banana building. Probably more like an elongated dome. I've been thinking about making an elongated dome, similar-ish to the banana building. Anyway, always lots of projects going on. Okay, well, we're at an hour here, and it looks like I'm at the end of chat, which I've been keeping up with the end of chat for a while. I don't know if you guys have less to say today than usual, or it might be that my opening monologue was shorter than usual. Anyway, yeah, if you have any last minute comments or questions, feel free to stick them in here, and I'm gonna take off in a couple minutes. Okay, here's one. How about a suction dredge, like what is used on a gold dredge? If you can run a water pump, that's about all you need besides suction nozzle. Nozzle can be made of PVC. Well, I mean, the mud sucker I made is basically, it's not exactly the same design, but it's basically the same thing. You know, just sucks up the muck and water and squirts it over there, and it works great. The only problem with that is, you know, it has to suck up a lot of water to get the stuff flowing, and just because it's watered down, it means it just runs everywhere. And it's more prone to washing back out to where I don't want it to be. Whereas, I mean, it's still useful, but man, just like sucking it up and jumping in the muck with a bucket and shoving the bucket upside down into the muck, and then turning it so the air goes out and sucks in all the muck. Like, I can get a bucket of like solid muck and pull it up and dump it out, and it's not as fun, because like I'm standing in muck and just, well, everything is muck, but it does a really good job. Like, it does the best job. It's funny, you know, in my years of doing things off grid, it's amazing how often the manual, like caveman way of doing something works better than any of the automated ways of doing it, you know? Like, so many times I find that, like, just shut up and get your hands dirty and just do it ends up getting the job done faster and better than getting all the equipment and setting all this other stuff up and then doing it. And it's kind of hard to explain, because if you see the two processes, usually if someone's doing something with the machinery, you don't see all the setup. You know, I get this question all the time about spraying concrete. Like, why don't you just spray concrete everywhere and just make things that way? And it's like, okay, a lot of the work I do in concrete is mixing it up and carrying it and doing all that stuff. That still exists with the spraying of the concrete. It's just, you know, if you just watch a video of someone holding a nozzle and being like, yeah, it's so easy. It's like, okay, it was like 2 weeks to set up that 5 minutes. You know? Oh, let's see. Love all you do, brother. You're such an inspiration. Wow, thanks, Aaron Boat Guy. How many boats do you have? Are you building these boats? Have you ever, okay, Chris says, have you ever looked at buying a mini excavator and bringing it to your island? It would speed up a lot of your digging projects. Well, there's a couple things. So what I've been doing for many months this year is I'll spend an hour or two every day, almost every day, unless it's raining. Basically every day though, just digging and moving dirt with a wheelbarrow. And that's like my main exercise. It's like just like an hour or two every day of lifting, and between every wheelbarrow, I'll do a set of push-ups or chin-ups or something. And that's like, I like it. It's really good. I would much rather do that than sit in an excavator, pushing the buttons and knobs and stuff. And like I was saying before, there's always extra stuff to deal with when you're doing stuff with machinery. Um, but even with that, I could probably get a bunch of stuff done quicker, but then I'm losing that huge amount of health and strength I'm gaining by doing this, just this hour or two habit of digging every day, which is just amazing for my health. It makes me feel really good. Days that I don't do it, like if it's raining for several days in a row, I notice by like the third or fourth day, I just start feeling not as good. And then the sun comes out and I can go dig again. And I just feel better. I feel great. So still, I have thought about it though, definitely. And I did build, a little solar powered bulldozer that I flattened out a previous island with. But yeah, I do really like the digging and the wheelbarrowing. And as long as it's going at a rate that I'm making decent progress, I think I just want to stick with the manual thing because it's really awesome exercise. Because if I didn't do that, I mean, what would I do then? I have to come up with some exercise for like an hour every day. I might as well just use that to do the digging. You can pump the muck in a silt sock. What's a silt sock? You can pump the muck in a silt sock. I don't know what a silt sock is, but one thing I was thinking about doing with muck, like digging muck off the bottom of the canal, was like putting a pipe into the muck, basically making like a giant syringe, like a syringe like this, and sticking it into the muck, like sucking up solid muck, and then lifting it up and aiming it over the land and then sticking it back on the muck and then getting it over the land. And I don't know if that has anything to do with what you're talking about, but that's one thing I've been considering. The problem with that is that relies on this thing being able to get basically into solid muck. In which case it would work great. If I have a big solid muck area, I stick this thing in, suck up a bunch of muck, then squirt it out. Well, now I've got a hole in the muck, which means I have to move over to where I'm not getting the hole. Because if I suck up partly where the hole is, it's just going to suck water up through the space. So I have to keep getting a good connection with solid muck, which is going to leave a lot of spaces. Anyway, probably has nothing to do with this muck sock or a silt sock. All right, I got to look up what a silt sock is. Remember that, Jaimie? Silt sock. Okay. When life seems easy, it is because you are forgetting the important things. Yeah, there's definitely a lot to think about there. You ever consider doing fiberglass canoes to sell to the locals? Yes, as a matter of fact. Or kayaks. So whenever I drive around in my kayaks, people are always asking me, how much, quanto cuesta? How much you want for that? And I'm always like, this one's mine. But yeah, I've been definitely thinking about making kayaks, actually. Could be canoes too, but I think if I was going to start with something, I'd start with kayaks. I get the exercise part. It's why I still split my firewood by hand. Yeah, totally. I totally get what you're saying. And with firewood, I don't think it's actually any faster to do it with the machine, because you got to get it up on the machine, and then you got to, and you got to move the pieces still. I mean, maybe you save a little bit of time, but like you get that block up there and you, whack, pick it up, whack. Man, so that's really good exercise. Yeah, I think there are so many pieces of automation in our lives, and I think it takes away too much. Like when you have a lot you have to do, some level of automation is valuable, right? But if you take that automation too far, it starts cutting into you just being a human being. Like as a human being, you got to do stuff. Like you got these hands and they have strength and they gain strength when they use their strength. This is one of the coolest things about a biological creature. It's like I'm always saying, my body is the only piece of equipment I have that gets stronger the more I use it. Everything else I have it wears out as I use it. But my body, it gets stronger the more I use it. It wears out if I'm not using it. So yeah, it's like I know a lot of people who spend all their time thinking about how to do as little as possible. How can I do less? How can I do less? How can I get a machine to do this for me? How can I pay someone else to do it? How can I hire? Like I just want to sit in the hammock and relax. But when it gets to that point, I think people are losing quality of life. But do whatever you want to do, obviously. But that's the way I think about it. And for me, I feel a lot better when I'm working really hard. And I would say it's probably not an exaggeration to say the harder I work in a day, the better I feel about that day and the better I generally feel. Like if I go through a month of just like working just like a dog, like just working really, really hard, maybe during that month I'll say, man, I gotta take a break. But by the end of that month, I'm always like, man, I feel amazing. I feel so good that I accomplished all this. I feel great. Now there are times when I've overdone it and I just get to a point where I'm like, okay, I need to rest and let this knee just rest and recover. And maybe I've got a strain in my neck or something that I have to whatever. But it takes a lot of hard work to get me to the point where I feel like that. And you know what? Generally speaking, when I have some kind of physical injuries like that, it's more because I'm under stress. It's not the physical work. It's the stress of like dealing with things I feel like I shouldn't have to deal with, that I don't want, that my heart's not in. When you have these stupid stresses of, modern civilization that you have to deal with, and the bank calls and says, hey, you have to send in these forms. And you're just like, why? I'm busy. I don't have these forms. I gotta go get them and like that kind of stuff is where I'll like get like a tight neck or a tight back, or just dealing with someone who's just being difficult. Like if I'm just on my own working hard, like I can work hard all day and just feel great at the end of the day, as long as I keep stretching, as long as I make sure I keep stretching. Anyway, all right. A silt sock. Let's see, where was I? I get the part about exercise. Funny automated luxury space. Communism will kill us all. Or sorry, not funny. Fully automated luxury space. Communism will kill us all. Yeah. Except not me. I'm not letting it kill me. I'm not joining in the fully automated luxury space. Oh, I hate that stuff. Oh, I am a victim of automation. Yes, so many people are victims of automation. And that's something we should be learning as kids. We should be learning as kids that automation it'll make you soft, and that's not a good thing. But today there's so much advertising, and it's just, we're overwhelmed with all this information that's not coming from the right sources. Like, this is why I'm always saying it's so important to be a good parent. Like to teach your kids really good values, because if you let them get their values from the TV and the internet and stuff, they're getting the wrong information. Yeah, and a lot of people are getting the wrong information and becoming exactly what you said, becoming victims of automation and victims of screens and all this stuff. It's just sucking the life out of you, I feel like I always spend 20 hours a year fixing the automation for a task that would be 8 hours without automation. Yeah, I totally know what you mean. Yeah, exactly what I was saying earlier about like, I've been like, since moving off grid, 15, 20 years ago, I've been amazed at how often it's more efficient to just get your hands dirty rather than try to automate something, try to get the machine to do it, or build something or set something up. Like, I can't tell you how many times I and a friend have been doing basically the same thing, and they'll be like, all right, I'm gonna get this machine and I'm gonna rent it from the thing, and then I gotta get the gas and do all this stuff and set up. And I'm just like, I'm gonna just try doing it. I'm just gonna see what happens. And they're like, yeah, you're gonna try that, and then you're gonna end up getting the machine. So you might as well just get the machine now. And then I'll try it, and by the time they have their machines set up and started, I'm like mostly done, you know? So many times this happens. One time when I was in Alaska, oh, I had so much fun in Alaska. That was a really good trip. Both trips. I went to Alaska twice to build cabins for crazy people in the woods. But one time I'm sitting on the back of an ATV with this girl, and this guy's driving. There's three of us packed on this little ATV, just bouncing around through the forest. And we come up, we're going through a trail, and there's this tree laying across the trail. And so he stops, and we're like, what's up? And he's like, there's a tree in the path. So he gets off, his chainsaw is on the ATV. We had so much stuff piled on this little ATV. So he goes up to grab his chainsaw, and I say to him, I bet I can cut that log out of the path with this axe before you can start that chainsaw. So he's like, go! So I jump off, grab my axe, whack, 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 whack. And he's there, you know, pumping the primer. Okay, now the clutch. Now, okay, now clutch back in. And he looks at me, and I'm just standing there. I'm like, this is done, man. It's already cut. I've already moved it out of the way. It's totally done. He's like, why do I even have this chainsaw? Anyway, that happens all the time. And it seems like I didn't realize how much that would happen before it did. Let's see. What are you growing in your garden these days? Well, I've got lots of katuk, which is like this spinachy kind of plant. Oh my gosh, my papayas, amazing. But I haven't gotten the ripe one yet. But they're like, I don't know, they're like 40 papayas on this one tree. And the bottom one is going to be ripe pretty soon. I don't know how long it takes. But it's like this big already. And then there's another one almost that big. And then it just gets smaller all the way up. But there's a lot of them. When they start getting ripe, I'm going to have a lot of papayas. And then I have, banana and plantain trees. I know none of those have any fruit on them at the moment, but any day. And then I have a whole bunch of like rooty plants, yucca and yampi, which are like potato-y kind of things, but way more delicious. Yampi is, actually I have a yampi right here. This is such a small one, but these get huge, like the size of my head, but it's got like a skin on it you wouldn't want to eat. And when you open it, it's like the slimiest potato you've ever seen, which is probably why they're not super popular, because they're so slimy. Like you touch it, it's just you gotta wash your hands. It's so slimy. But man, they're like the most delicious. They make the most delicious fries and mashed potatoes, and yeah, they're really good. What else do I have? Well, I have these cocoa plums, which were growing on the island before I even moved here. And generally people think they're crap. They're not the greatest fruit, but they're edible. My kids like them a lot. What else is out here? I don't know, stuff. I got stuff growing. I don't have like an amazing garden yet, but I'm getting there. Automation is a double-edged sword like fire. It's a powerful tool and a cruel master. Yeah, the thing with automation is then you have to then maintain all the stuff that creates the automation, which is why often it's more efficient to just do it yourself. Of course, this also has a lot to do with scale. If you have to plow 20,000 acres of fields, you don't want to do that by hand. No, I'm not going to get it. Okay. Dude, in one of your Tales of Jaimie, where you were constructing the universe in your mind or something, you were talking about some mind mapping or something. I'll take your word for it. Is there a question? I don't know. Is there going to be a continuation to this sentence? Or was that just the whole thing? All right. Well, anyway, I'm at the end of comments here. Dude, if that's an actual question, next week, just say it at the beginning or send me an email asking me it, and I'll think about it this week. And this sounds like it might be a question that will require some thinking. How do I, wait, I was hoping you would remember it. I have to look it up again. Well, I think I know what you're talking about, where I was talking about a lot of meditation I used to do. But do you just want me to talk about that, or do you have a specific question? Yeah, feel free to ask me next week or send me an email. If you send me an email, my email is down here. I think it'll put it into my head, and then next week I'll have something good to say about it, hopefully. I'll think about it, while I'm chainsawing or whatever. Okay, Spin Fuse says, how do I send you stuff? Well, I have an Amazon wish list, which should be down here in the description, I'm pretty sure. And I always make sure there's some stuff on there. And right now, at the top, there's a few things that I think my kids would like, and then under that, there's a bunch of stuff that I would like. Yeah, whenever there are things that I know I'm going to get in the future, I'll put it on my Amazon wish list. If it's on Amazon, if it's that kind of thing, I'll put it on there for a while before I actually buy it, and then sometimes people send me stuff on there. So that's probably the easiest way to send me stuff. But if you have something that you want to mail me, it's a little bit complicated. It's not super complicated or anything, but send me an email, and I have to know what it is for it to be able to get imported into the country, and you send it to an address in Florida where it gets on a container, and they have to have a list of what it is, so that when it comes into the country, the what's it called? The import guys can look at it and be like, oh, okay, this can come into the country, and whatever, I mean, it's not hugely complicated, but whatever. I have to know what it is, basically. So how do I send them? What's your address? Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta send me an email. Yeah, I have to know what it is, and I can give you the address if I know what it is to go to the right place, because depending on what it is, it could go in different places. And like I was saying, it's a little bit complicated. Just because, there's import customs and stuff. It's not like you can just mail it. Things from myself. Okay, can you totally send me an email? And do my kids have computers? They do not have computers. I actually kind of want to get them computers. Do you have a computer for my kids? So with my kids, I'm trying to think of all the uses I have. I think the main thing I do with my kids and computers is I get them to play video games, and specific video games, not just anything they want to play. I'll set them up with games that I learned stuff from when I was a kid. So one is, lately they've been playing Gradius, which is like a spaceship, like a 2D spaceship flying thing. And it's kind of hard. It's a hard game. When I was a kid, it was one of the games where I really learned how to keep trying, even though you get killed a lot, and learn, and just basically learn perseverance and learn how to learn something when it's really hard. So I get them to play that, and then I'll get them to play RPG games where they have to read and figure out puzzles and stuff like that. And that's good because some of my kids like reading, and others are, not super into reading. But if it's a video game, they'll read the stuff, and then they practice reading that way. Anyway, there's a bunch of video games that I get them to play to learn stuff. And then there's a video game that I made. It's on my website, actually. It's not totally finished, but completely playable. I mean, I have a couple different video games, but this one it's a tank game. It's basically that old game Scorched Earth that I kind of remade. It's a little different, but it's basically that. And I really like that game. If you don't know what it is, it's like the screen is there, and there are all these little tanks on some ground. And whenever it's your turn, you kind of aim your turret of your tank, and you select the angle it's aiming at. So you learn about angles, and then you select the, you set the power, so how hard it's going to shoot. And it's basically like it teaches a bunch of rudimentary physics, which is really good for kids. And then it's also fun because, things explode and whatever, and it keeps her interest, but it really teaches like angles and like stuff like that. So yeah, I get my kids to play that too. Anyway, yeah, please send me an email. I will go check my email in a minute. Have you considered getting goats? Yes. My friend and I have been talking about goats a lot lately, actually. Yes, I found cheap, awesome ones, one eBay one for $90 laptops. No way. I just bought one myself. They can learn coding. That's another thing. One of my kids, whenever I'm coding a website, not a website, a video game, she's always like over my shoulder looking. What's that? What does that mean? What's going on here? I think I can get her interested in coding. And maybe my son is only 5 right now, but he's pretty interested in it too. But maybe he and his older sister can get together and I think they could get pretty into it and make websites. Yeah. Computers from the early 2010s go for really cheap, and they're plenty powerful enough to use the internet. Yeah, I don't need any super powerful computers for anything I do, really. Acer Travelmate B3, get this one. Video games is what got me into reading. Yeah, totally. Video games, I learned a lot from video games. I've talked about this before, how, my parents were divorced, and so I didn't really have a lot of guidance because they were busy hating each other and, not really being parents, whatever. I mean, they did their best and everything. I don't have any, resentment or whatever. It's whatever. But I spent a lot of time on my own, and I learned a lot of things from video games. And they were really useful. Love that game. Which game are you talking about, Mr. Landfill? Love that game. Becoming a software developer would be a good future for them. Good money and possible to do it remote. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things they can do. Anyway, okay. I'm going to go eat this here chicken fried rice and put my robot parts back away. Oh man, look how good this came out. It looks like it's like as good as the CAD drawing. Oh, so nice. Oh, and the funny thing is, I originally drew all the parts for this robot in 2004 AutoCAD. It might have been 2005. I think it's 2004. Anyway, 2004 AutoCAD, AutoCAD's not really known for being good for 3D parts. But anyway, since that's what I had at the time and that's what I used, that's what I've been using to edit the parts. So I've gotten kind of good at 3D CADing in AutoCAD again. But I still have the same version of AutoCAD. It's like 2004. And no, I'm not going to upgrade because, whatever. Oh, the tank game. Have a great night. Yeah, I like the tank game a lot, actually. I got to add more stuff to it. Yeah, I've just been doing a lot, I look forward to a time to be like 2 or 3 years from now, probably like 3 years from now, when, my floors are done and I've got gardens set up and I have a campground going, and I'm not like constantly every day working hard from sun up till sundown. And then I can spend more time, making robots and programming video games, having little hobbies and stuff like that. That's going to be really fun. But I really gotta bust my butt for a couple more years to get there. Okay. Do you wait? Have a great night. Be safe, everyone. Do you have a dryer for your filament? It really makes a difference in high humidity areas. I love printing in ABS, though it makes its own glue. Just add acetone. I don't have a dryer at the moment. So far, I haven't had any problems though. I'm still on my first full roll of ABS. It's a 1 kilogram roll, and not ABS, PLA. I'm using PLA, and it was in a shrink wrap thing with a a desiccant pack in there. I pulled it out, put it on the machine, and it's been on there for like 2 weeks, and it's still printing super good parts. So yeah, I don't know. If I end up having any problems with moisture, then I'll have to do something. But so far, no problems. How did the fridge work out? Well, the fridge I've only used once because it's empty right now, so I haven't turned it on. Leftovers, I never have leftovers. Like I eat everything. I don't know. A few days ago, I had some ground beef, kept it in the fridge for like a day and a half. Worked great. Ate it the next day, and I didn't die. It was still cold. So yeah, it seems to be working well. I just need to put some stuff in it. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. Everyone have a great night and a marvelous dinner or breakfast or sleep or whatever you've got going wherever you are. And I hope everyone does your best and keeps working hard and kicking butt. Do you put out fish traps? I do have one fish trap, and it's not at my house, though. I need to make one for my house, too. All right, Chris, see ya. All right, I'm getting out of here, everyone.